Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, executive editor at ClassicsToday.com, here with fabulous concert programs number 132. We're up to Alan Pettersson Symphony number, oh my, 11. Oh my God. Symphony number 11. Okay. This is actually one of Pettersson's easiest symphonies to listen to. First of all, it's in one movement. It's about 25 minutes long. So you can treat it kind of like a tone poem or just a big chunk of contemporary orchestral music with a wide range of moods. It actually begins almost in a pastoral kind of vein. There's a feeling of woodwinds and outdoorsy kind of music, and that returns at various points. So it's not as dark and claustrophobically, gut-wrenchingly depressing as a lot of his music is. And for that reason, I just put it at the beginning of the program, like a giant overture. You just play it and have fun listening to it. It really works very easy. And very easily, it works nicely. It feels good when you listen to it. Oh, the ending is kind of abrupt and, of course, dark and soft and kind of droopy, but that's okay. I mean, it all just flows nicely. It really does. And so for that reason, you can listen to it up front, and you can do the rest of the program along normal lines, which I've done. I've added the Schumann Piano Concerto as the next work, because why not? We haven't talked about the Schumann Piano Concerto in this series of fabulous orchestral concerts. You can get a great soloist, so people will show up to wait for the Schumann and actually sit through Pettersson. That's one way to get him in there. And then after the intermission, Bruckner 7. I like Bruckner 7 as a contrast to Pettersson. I do, because Bruckner is all spirituality and hopefulness and meditative ecstasy, whereas Pettersson, on the other hand, who also talks about his inner self and his inner being and spiritual, soulful, intangible things, is as opposite as you can possibly get. He's all about, as he said, about facts, about not misery, just facts, he said. And they talked about why his symphonies were so grim. And so there's whatever he might have thought spiritual about spirituality, there isn't anything especially spiritual sounding in his symphonies, because if you want your music to sound spiritual, what you need to do is make it big and broad and more than human sounding. I did a whole video on this, what makes music spiritual. You might want to watch it. But essentially what it is, what makes it sound transcendental, is denying human qualities to the music. That is, if it's going to be singable, it has to be cosmically singable. That's why choral music is spiritual, because it's a collective voice, a superhuman voice. And Bruckner symphonies have superhuman elements all over them. Big, long melodies, gorgeous brass chorales that remind us of religious music and all of that stuff. And Pettersson uses some of those same elements. I mean, he writes very long breath lyrical themes, and he also sometimes indulges in chorale writing for the brass section and whatnot. But his music is always firmly anchored in a march or some kind of rhythm that gives it an earthbound feel. Let's just say, because the rhythm is parceled out in a very basic sort of heartbeat kind of tempo, and that makes the music sound like personal suffering or personal something personal. That's the whole point of it. But it's very interesting to compare the two, I think. I really do. They always compare Pettersson to Mahler because of the emotional angst that you hear in Pettersson's music. But I mean, first of all, I think that does a disservice to Mahler, who has much more range in his music than Pettersson does, number one. But number two, maybe the comparison to Bruckner is more apropos. I'm not sure, because Pettersson always also seems to be reaching for something beyond. But whether that something is a spiritual element, I am not prepared to say. I can't say it all. But the music is hypnotic and fascinating, and often quite beautiful, and often extremely gripping. And I just think, having Bruckner at the end of the concert, after Pettersson starts it off, is going to take audiences on a really interesting, emotional, and expressive journey, which is the point of a lot of these programs. And the Schumann Concerto is just a great piece anyway. We all love it. So there you have it, my friends. Give this one a shot at home. Again, I listen to all these programs. I try them all out, and I play them through, and I like to see how the music operates, it's a function of contrast sometimes or similarity sometimes. And this is one of the more interesting ones because of where you wind up in expressive terms. See what you think. I think maybe you'll like it. So keep on listening, friends. Thanks for joining me, and take care.